Hey guys, welcome back to SteamStax, and today we're going to look at my level 35 Swordmaster build for The Witcher 3. Now this build is mainly for all of you that enjoy stabbing the f*** out of enemies with your pointing stick, and don't really care about too much of this other magic stuff. It is actually possible to do this build at level 25, since there are a total of 25 places of power in the game. Wait, what the hell is that? Oh, it's falling? Well, alright then. Anyways, this build will really focus on building and using adrenaline points, as they are the fuel that drives the effectiveness of this build. In fact, I'm going to be saying adrenaline points so much in this video that from now on, adrenaline points are now known as AP, so I won't drive you guys crazy. The first ability they're going to want to max out is Muscle Memory, which increases your fast attack damage by 25% and also adds 5% AP gain. These bonuses to fast attack will play a bigger role later on in this build. Next, go ahead and max out the ability Strength Training, which increases your strong attack damage by 25% and adds yet another 5% AP gain. You won't be using strong attacks all that often, but they still are very effective in certain situations, especially in one-on-one fights. Now, as you are fighting and getting hit, you'll notice that you will lose a significant amount of AP, and this is not good as you are trying to retain as much as possible. To counteract that, put 5 points into the move Resolve, which completely removes the amount of adrenaline points you lose upon getting hit, and also adds another 5% AP gain to the pile. Moving on down, max out the ability Precise Blows, which increases the chance of landing a fast attack critical hit by 10% and fast attack critical damage by 75%. It also increases AP gain by 5%. After that, max out the ability Crushing Blows, which is the same as the previous except for strong attacks. Once again, you won't be getting the opportunity to perform strong attacks as much, but the main thing here is the extra 5% AP gain. Let's go down a level and max out the ability Whirl, which you remember from my last build. This ability fucks the shit out of everything that lives. Yeah, that. To perform the ability Whirl, simply hold down the fast attack button. This ability works by first consuming stamina and then consuming adrenaline. So the more adrenaline that you build, the more often you'll be able to do this move. This is also where most of the fast attack bonuses that we've been building up in the previous 2 rows will come into play. Now that you have maxed out the abilities Muscle Memories and Precise Blows, Whirl will do 25% more damage, 10% more critical, and a 75% extra chance of landing a critical hit. You also get another 5% AP gain. This ability is essentially the bread and butter of this build, as it is able to take down a large group of enemies as well as single strong enemies with ease. Next up, put 1 point into the ability Rend. Rend works similar to Whirl in how it consumes adrenaline and stamina. Instead of being good against everything, however, Rend is particularly effective against slow, single enemies that leave themselves wide open for attack occasionally. This ability works by holding down the strong attack button. Essentially, the longer you hold it, the more damage it deals. Once again, with the previous 2 strong attack abilities, you won't be getting the opportunity to use this ability all too much, but it is a good to have just in case. Having 1 point in this ability also adds another 1% AP gain. Max out the ability Counterattack. This ability will boost the damage of an attack by 90% after a successful counterattack. It also guarantees a critical hit with a chance of knockdown based on the number of AP that you have, and increases AP gain by another 3%. It's pretty self-explanatory why this is a good move in certain situations. Moving to the right, max out the ability Razor Focus, which instantly nets you 1 AP the moment you enter combat, which is a third of your bar. Not only that, but the AP generated by sword blows is increased by 25% and also increases AP gain by 5%. Once again, your goal is to generate as much AP as possible in combat and use Whirl to unleash the fires of hell upon the enemy, and this ability is essential in doing that. Now in the last row, max out the ability Crippling Strikes, which adds a bleeding effect to the enemy when you hit them with a fast attack. Affected enemies will lose 125 vitality or essence points per second for 5 seconds. That's an extra 2, 3, carry the 5, 625 damage that you'll be applying to the enemy over the course of 5 seconds. This is extremely effective if you're fighting an enemy with a lot of health and has very small windows of attack like an elemental. Also 5% extra AP gain. Put 4 points into the ability Sunder Armor, which reduces the enemy damage and resistance by 20% and adds 4% more AP gain. The beauty of this ability is that even though it is under the strong attack column, it doesn't apply specifically to strong attacks, making it extremely useful outside of the column. Essentially, enemies will take more damage from your attacks. Last but not least, max out the ability Deadly Precision. This ability will add a 2% chance of instantly killing your opponent per AP and also adds 2% AP gain. Essentially, with a full bar of adrenaline, it will add a 1 in 17 chance of instantly killing an enemy with each swing of your sword. Need I say more? Finally, add the abilities to the slot, doesn't matter what order, and apply red mutagens for an up to 160% attack increase. If you have any extra ability points, first put them in the ability Sunder Armor and then into Rend. After that, there's nothing really to spend them on. This build is pretty much the best combat build in the game and is effective against every enemy you face. I would suggest using the Mastercrafted Ursine gear for this build. Even though it technically isn't the best gear in the game stat-wise, it does have the highest amount of AP regeneration as well as defense, which will help you stay alive. And keeping your health up is really the only thing you want to be careful about with this build, as you won't have the help of Sign, Alchemy, or general abilities. Thanks guys for watching. Let me know what you think of my Swordmaster build in the comments. If you're interested in a build that includes some Sign abilities as well as some combat abilities instead, feel free to click the left video and check out my Swordcaster build, which is the build that I personally use. Also, feel free to click the right video to see some of the new alternative finishers that were just released with the last DLC. Thanks again guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.